David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. I'm back today with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore, and our special guest, Zoriy Birenboym from eAuto Lease. Zoriy, want to welcome you to our show. How you doing today?
I'm great, and thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Oh no, we're always pleased. We love having guests on the show. Normally we just kind of cover the electric vehicle news, but it's always exciting to see what folks have going on, and especially you never know what kind of service you might be able to provide to people that see our videos, and it just Bill and I love learning what other people are doing, and that's a big part of it too. So, anyways, once again, welcome. Can you when did you come into eAuto Lease? Did you found this?
Yes.
So you're the original founder. When did you start this up?
In 2015, so it's a little bit over a decade.
Nice,
Wow, okay.
nice. What
But
and I assume you've seen some pretty big changes in how leasing works in 10 years.
I mean, I've been doing this since 2006, so it's almost 20 years. Gonna be.
Wow. Yeah.
But
So
yeah, I'm listening. I'm sorry.
no, you're great. You're great. So one of the big things in the EV business, especially in the United States, has been the tax credits, whether it's $7,500 or how much it was before that, and all that. And even if a car didn't qualify on the type of battery or where the battery was made, it could still qualify under a commercial lease. Now, I see you have an electric car lease deals section on eautolease.com. And is that, and I see, they're all zero down. Is that why they're all zero down? Is because you get to kick in the $7,500, or is there something that is
Well,
not magical?
my entire website, all the ads are zero down, so that
Nice.
doesn't have to be electric. And as I said, we have an electric section showing what we can offer to the consumers to make their life easier. They could shop online. With a click of a button, we can assist. They could speak to us via live chat, through text, many forms of communication. And we are a licensed and bonded broker in the state of New York. And we've successfully been delivering cars nationwide, from electric to gas and commercial and across the board.
So what are the most popular cars you see that come up for leasing? What makes and models?
Well, the electric cars are getting more and more popular. I mean, the lease deals on them are great. Unfortunately, a lot of the brands are, well, fortunately and unfortunately. Fortunately for the consumer, not so sure about how fortunately it is for the brand with all the discounts and all the rebates and all the incentives. But the deals on the electric cars are great across the board. Toyota's great, Kia's great. Everybody's, doing well right now with them, but it's because they're heavily discounted. And as I see that the future is electric.
Yeah.
At a point, there was electric anxiety, like with a cell phone. When your battery's about to die, people were
Right.
worried. People were constantly worried. What am I going to do? How am I going to sit? There's not so many chargers. There's this, that, and that was a big thing and a big deal. And thank God that they're building electric charging stations everywhere, more and more. And I see that the future is green.
Yeah, you're in New York City, and New York City has had kind of terrible EV adoption, and a lot of it's because people don't have a place to, they don't have a dedicated place to park, dedicated place to charge, and so that's probably kind of a struggle. But still, what are the, in the EV space, what are the most popular cars you're seeing get leased?
In the EV space, Toyota BZ4X.
Really?
Yes.
I noticed.
That's a surprise.
Well, at least in New York City, a lot of requests for the BZ4X. A lot of them like it. It's roomy. It's nice. It's great financially. Kia Niro, good car. Well, Tesla has amazing promotions. The only thing about Tesla is that I can't offer it. You are Tesla. I could only offer pre-owned, which you could finance through us. But Tesla, his program is you have to go to Tesla.com, and you know, he doesn't have dealerships. He doesn't have. I can't broker a Tesla, but his lease specials are awesome. Also, I mean, I see it. People are trading them in. People are leasing them, and very popular brand.
What's the general terms? Or is this what 36 months sort of the
24. You could
24?
you could do 24. A lot of people, you know what I've noticed also, a lot of people that are coming over from Europe, a lot of people that are expats that are coming in here for they're recruited for career change, or they ran something a headquarters in Europe and coming to America to run the American headquarters. They also want to go electric. So
Okay.
I've been noticing a lot of that. The foreigners that are coming in, they want electric. But as I said, I even in my office in my location installed level 2 electric chargers for
Oh, good.
because so that it's New York. It's I'm in a commercial area. That way we can aside from make it easier for a consumer to buy a car from us, but I also provide, if you did get a car from us and you're stranded somewhere, you could also stop by here and charge, which
Okay.
is which is a convenience for customers.
Now you have a company there that's called Gravity that has DC fast charging. Do people that lease your cars from you make use of that, and what's their experience been?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not aware if they use that, because a lot of them are installing the level 2 chargers at home.
Okay. All right. Good.
Oh yeah, most like I mean, a lot of the brands, when you're leasing a car, they're going to give you an option whether you're getting a gift card, so for charging, some sort of amount, 500-600 bucks, or they send you a free level 2 charger. And a lot of people are choosing the level 2 chargers. And by the way, I must say another great deal is the Acura ZDX is a great promotion. Acura is selling out like hotcakes with their new EV SUV.
Hmm.
And I also want to say they've been having some issues. Stellantis, I just shipped some to Florida, the new EV Dodge Charger.
Nice.
Also, not a bad deal and not a bad program. The only issue is Stellantis will be Stellantis. And if for some reason people cars are in service longer than they're in driveways, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. I just saw a headline that Stellantis or Dodge are pulling away from they just haven't had a lot of success with that electric charger. Which is that
I,
sort of your experience?
I'll be honest with you. I just though I liked it, so I wanted to test drive one that we're delivering to a customer, and I wanted to make sure that everything's gonna be perfect. So I went and I picked it up and I did it myself. It's a little bit weird to me. I'm worried that she's not going to be able to hold the charge, even though she's beautiful. The design, everything, and you know what else is weird to me? They installed the speaker sound system.
Yes, yes.
That
I've sat at the back of one of those
yes,
while the dealer ran it for me so I could record it.
I
It's a
guess it was
weird
their like
experience.
selling point that you can. But I don't think it's just about the sound. It's about the vibration, about the rev.
Right,
It's about a lot of things, and there's just not enough of consumers that I'll just enjoy the speakers.
right, right,
Again, I do see that unfortunately Mercedes failed with the G-Wagon electric.
right.
Terribly failed with it, because people want the 63 engine, people want the big engines, people also feel more confident, and I think the biggest factor that's also affecting mindsets is the resale value.
Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
big thing. There's a huge depreciation
That's
on
true.
those. Yeah. Now, how does
So,
that impact your business though? Because
Um,
they're only going to keep the car for 24 months. So then basically what comes back to you, or
it
do you
comes
sell
it
it to
comes
them?
back
Or
it comes back to the leasing bank. So Mercedes, BMW, Toyota. I am just the legal middleman who arranges the whole process.
Okay.
That way, you can do this from the comfort of your home, and you don't have to go anywhere. Kind of like an insurance broker, except I broker automobiles. I broker pretty much all the brands.
Okay.
And we've been doing this for years. And what I noticed a decade ago, that you have to move with the times, the same way that Amazon took over and is taking over more, and people just want it with a click of a button. That's what you can
Right.
do on your website, and with a click of a button, you will have your vehicle delivered to your home or office without even doing anything. Which that's the convenience that we do, and knock on wood, if you take Google us or take a look at our reviews and everything else, you'll see that quite successful at it.
So how many you have kind of an estimate of how many EVs you have leased since you began it in what, in 2015?
So I'll be honest with you, EVs, I would say out of 100% a month, 10 to 20% we're doing EVs now.
Okay.
I would love to do more, but as I said earlier, a lot of the New Yorkers are still having battery anxiety. Where
Right.
am I going to charge? Will I get stuck somewhere? What am I going to do? Like with your cell phone, as soon as it's dying, you want to know, how am I going to charge it? Where am I? How am I going to send a text message if my
Yeah.
phone dies? And people are having it. I've had, unfortunately, we've delivered Porsche Taycans,
Mhm.
and we've delivered that, and people have called me that we'd like to trade it back in. Mentally, it's too much pressure. I am always worried that I gotta wait in line, and I gotta sit for hours, and a lot of things.
Well, you've got a very different situation there where when the average person, like we said, doesn't own a parking space where they can have a charger, it's a very different environment. Bill and
Yeah.
I live in Nebraska.
Oh
We live
wow!
in homes, we have garages and driveways and things where we could plug in a car. Whereas, in other parts of the country, it's not the same. One of our listeners was asking, what's the public charging station situation here? I mean, we have Tesla chargers, we have the CCS chargers, we have Chatamo chargers. There's no, if you were out in the countryside, you might have trouble finding a public charger. But if you're on
Well,
one
but
of the
even
highways,
yeah, even there's a surprising number of chargers that have been installed and are being installed. So yeah, it's not like probably the West Coast or the East Coast, but here around Omaha, there's probably at least a dozen chargers, and if we go across the river, there's another dozen fast chargers that Tesla has in place. So
Well, Tesla's buying up real estate left and right. I'm following the map, and Tesla's doing its thing. Tesla's
yeah,
being Tesla, and no matter I'm a big advocate of Tesla and Mr. Musk. No matter what everybody else says, but he's definitely doing it.
well,
It's not
well,
about the.
this yeah, they're certainly thinking ahead because you're probably aware the New Jersey decided to uh, terminate
Yeah, I'm aware.
the supercharger stations along the turnpike, and they fortunately had in years previous located other charger stations off the turnpike that people could,
Which
if they needed to get off, they could charge.
which I don't understand. Again, I don't want to get into politics, but New Jersey was so for electric vehicles.
Yeah,
All of them were sales tax abated.
right.
So if you got an
mhm.
electric vehicle, you don't have to pay this, you don't have to pay that. They were so pro this EV mandate, and New Jersey was buying cars tremendously
Yes.
um, because of the savings. It's a lot of money, and people were switching electric. And all of a sudden, back to square one, full sales tax, license plates in the state. If you get a new car, the fee for DMV is like $1,500. When
How? Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's back up a minute. Is that just on EVs or is that all cars?
just on EVs, there's an extra EV fee for DMV. I mean, all of a sudden, everything went upside down.
$1,500?
Yeah, approximately, depending on the vehicle, depending on this and that. It's crazy.
Wow.
What is it for a gas car there?
I'm literally. I just said so the DMV, so the brands use for, let's say, an expediter to do DMV fees. Just yesterday, for example, even Florida, BZ4X we're doing for Florida, DMV fees are approximately $800, where regular gas car is around $400, $300 to $400. And in New Jersey, they implemented a standalone fee, so it all adds up plus minus $1,500 just to get plates. I guess they did their numbers, and it wasn't. They lost a lot not collecting sales tax over the last couple of years, and they did 50%, half tax you had to pay, and now from July 1st, if I'm not mistaken, everything is back to square one. I got to confirm. I think it already started, or it's back to square one. I have to confirm. I don't
Now,
remember.
does that get rolled into the monthly lease fee?
You could roll it in. You could pay it up front. You could do you have the opportunity to do all of that. Of course, I believe I just have to confirm, because I believe it either started or starting right now to be full tax. But everything was so pro, and kind of post November, everything went a roller coaster.
Well, yeah, but that's a state as opposed to the federal initiatives. Why did the state decide to implement that?
I mean, I have no answer for that. Why did the state decide to implement that? If
I
they're
guess
holding, if it's a personal grudge, then that's an issue. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why, because there's a lot of dealers in New Jersey. Jersey's crazy saturated with so many brands that sell EVs, and I would say this is a massive a massive setback for everybody, because again, it also evened out the playing field for gas cars and electric cars, but still, I think that it's better for the environment, and so on and so forth.
Well, and have you done any comparison, or people shared with you comparisons? They were leasing a BMW, whatever, from you, and then they went over to a Kia, let's say, for example. Have you got a sense of what they're paying difference in their monthly fuel costs as opposed to local electric rates? Is it comparable, or are they saving money?
I'll be honest with you. I was speaking to some people. I didn't get into much detail of that. It also depends on the time of the day that you're charging.
Right.
And there's I was recently experimenting myself. I wanted to see the difference in our electricity bill once I installed the chargers on the property. I too wasn't so familiar that different times of day and so on and so forth. But we're learning as we go.
So is that Con Ed?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And New Jersey, of course, I think they're a different. I forget who the utility provider there is.
I don't remember. I'm not sure. I live in New York. I could take a look.
Yeah.
I could Google it. I don't.
Have to ask my daughter. She used to live in Trenton, so or near Princeton, actually. So
it's interesting to look at some of your lease deals on the EVs. It's what like you're saying, the Toyota Busy Forks is only $299 a month with 0 down. I can see why that's popular. I mean, Bill, look here. The Fiat 500e is $424. I mean, why would anybody choose the Fiat over the Busy Forks?
Hey, it's a great fun. I have one. Just so you know.
Yeah.
I own one.
But look at a couple of these. I mean, the Dodge Charger's only $350 a month with 0 down versus like a Mini Cooper that's even more expensive.
I mean, some of the brands have amazing amount of rebates and incentives. Volkswagen, Dodge, Mini is owned by BMW. BMW understands that the residual value is going to slaughter the situation at the end of the lease when they have to take the car in. I mean, there's a lot of factors involved. A lot of these brands have different mindsets. Some of them want to push the electric cars more and just a branding thing, even if they're losing money, but making it up on other stuff.
Right.
There's a million factors. I know that Mercedes is definitely, even though it's a nice car, speaking to my friends in Mercedes, it's not easy moving the EQEs. It's not easy justifying $1,000 a month for an electric car. It's more difficult than with the BZ4X for $299 a month.
Yeah, it is. It is such a great deal. I see you've got some. It says 2023 Chevy Bolt. Are you still able to get a hold of some of
So
those?
the reason why it's on the website, because even though we might not be able to still get it, that's why it says call for price or call in. But people do search for it, so at least they get to see what other options that there are. And I don't want to, I want them to have the opportunity to find us. So that's really the.
Yeah. And these are all new cars. These are not
Yes,
pre-owned.
everything is new. Some are late bloomers, meaning some came out with 25s late, some skipped a year, some produced so many 24s that we're still selling them in 25.
Okay.
It's been rocky. Honda Prologue is nice, also been rocky, but I would say that the Japanese brands are having more luck than the American brands with
Hmm.
selling.
And that's
these.
just, I assume that's just the perception of decades long perception of the quality of the cars, the Toyota
Exactly the
Camry and things like that.
people are nervous and worried. The perception.
Yeah.
Situation.
Do you have, just for comparison's sake here, do you have hybrids that are part of this as well that you can
Yes,
lease? And
yes.
so how are those comparing in terms of, people leasing, having an option to either go with a hybrid or go with the pure electric?
I mean, a lot of people are leasing the hybrids. One of our most popular one is the Mazda CX-90 hybrid
Really?
Okay.
HEV. It's a big nice SUV. It's a family size SUV. You can find it on our website. It's not going to be in the full electric section, but if you go to Mazda, you'll see the CX-90. That's it right there. And again, because of the $7,500 incentive, um, it give us just the opportunity to lower the payment by that much, and people are enjoying it. Yes, it does have its fair share of little issues.
Such
You know,
as,
I've been seeing they've had a lot of electrical issues. The
okay,
the PHEV
right.
is having an issue interfacing with the transmission,
Yeah,
and
that is not an easy technology to integrate the two.
it is not. And as I said, everybody's chasing Tesla, everybody's chasing his tech, but I would say that the electric tech is more difficult than the combustion tech.
Well,
Be-
we've had a century of the one we had early EV technology at the turn of from the 18th to 19th century. It was
Mhm.
one third of all the cars sold in 1905 or in that period of time were electric. But
Okay.
of course, the gasoline engine came along, and the big change was the introduction of the starter by General Motors Kettering, and
Yes.
that changed the landscape. So yeah, so we've had a century of that technology slowly, progressively, year after year after year being improved, and now we're asking technology that stalled in 1910 now or 1920 to now try to catch up with that. So yeah, we've got some catching up to do, but I think it's happening, and I haven't had any bad experiences. Actually, I've had more bad experiences with my old Prius
Oh
than
yeah.
than I've had so far with my little Fiat 500.
I mean, the Prius is pretty popular. People love it. Toyota's doing pretty
Oh
well
yeah,
with the Prius, and again, they're using it for Uber and Lyft, and I mean, it's great. And again, they were also New York was only issuing TLC plates for transportation if you bought an electric vehicle. So they kind of were getting rid of also the gas engines. So Prius was pretty popular, and there's a lot of electric cars now running in New York. But I would say that a huge chunk of New York City is Teslas.
Mhm.
Would not surprise me. We had one of our regular listeners was commenting: can a person lease an off-lease vehicle? Now, you mentioned that the car, when it comes off your initial lease, it goes back to the bank or the car maker, right, and their financial entity. How
So
does one go about picking up one of those, for
that
example?
that's actually a good question. So before COVID, things were a lot different with resale value, with car values, with bank rates. You were able to lease a pre-owned vehicle, off-lease vehicle, normally lease, close-ended lease, and even I did. At a point, there was just an amazing deal on a Lexus, for example. But I would say COVID, inflation, screwed everything up,
Okay.
and resale values and residuals, everything kind of it's all over the place, and it's a little bit crazy. So today, from what I see, we don't really do. I don't think we've done any in a while. The banks would offer opportunities to do pre-owned leasing, but because everything is so scattered with the massive residual drops and everything that's going on, they cut out the program, and it's cheaper to lease new versus pre-owned.
Hmm.
Also, I apologize. A big factor is these pre-owned cars that are coming back having a lot of electrical issues, warranty issues. A lot of them are also out of warranty already. So the bank is, they're trying to go away from risk today versus having more risk, and it's financially feasible and cheaper to go with a brand new car.
Okay.
Wow.
So what you broker these things to all?
Yes.
Are there certain, is your most of your business concentrated in New York and Florida, for example,
Um,
or what's sort of the demographic
I'll
or
be
the
honest with you. We our website is nationwide.
okay?
If the customer wants it, yes, we have some. Our biggest issue would be let's say DMV. For example, some minor hiccups like in California, you need to pass emissions. You need to pass a little bit more stuff, and our other issue is we're very particular. We cross the T's and dot the I's. We make sure there's no fraud, no identity theft. There's a lot of it going on.
Right,
So we
right.
have to make sure that the consumers are protected. Everybody's protected all around. And that, yeah, but otherwise, if there's a will, there's a way. There's a lot of services that could be used today that you can hire, and a notary will make sure that the person is who they state they are, and make sure that everybody from us to the buyer and the brand is protected. So we do New York, New Jersey, tri-state area, Florida, we Mid America, West Coast. Um, if the customer's happy with us, we'll gladly do our best to provide the vehicle.
So they lease the vehicle, they pay whatever upfront fees that there might be. I'm assuming and part of that lease is rolled into that the transportation to get it from
Some of the
where.
customers want to roll that in. Some of the customers want to do pay it on their own. Some of the customers want to arrange transportation on their own. It all depends how we use different transportation services. The ones that are the safest with the least amount of headaches. There's obviously a lot of car theft and everything, but that's a whole different thing that's going on in the country. But it's a huge problem these days with a lot of vehicles being stolen, and it's just abundance of everything that's going on. But that's sidetracking. But they have the opportunity for us to arrange, or they could do it on their own.
So how prone are EVs compared to ICE vehicles? And I don't mean by ICE, I mean internal combustion engine vehicles. How prone are those to being stolen as opposed to a Lexus or whatever the most popular gas model is that
BMW, Mercedes, Land
yeah,
Rover, Rolls Royce, exotics. Those are
right.
the targets, unfortunately. And I see it here, and I have plenty of my customers, our customers, that have called us that their car went missing in the middle of the night and never to be found. And even my brother in law was subject to this. his Acura TLX was stolen
Boosted.
right in front of his house and never to be found.
Ended up on a boat to North Africa
That's
somewhere.
really I mean, that's I've been reading up a lot about this more and more, and that's really the big thing that's going on right now. And even with the local auctions and everybody who I'm speaking with, the the theft is through the roof. Never seen before
Uh,
numbers.
so if you're concerned about that, then it would make sense maybe to go with an EV as opposed to.
You know, that's already the mindset of the buyer. I would
Yeah.
love to. You know, the beautiful part about us is that over the years we built the clientele that listens to our advice. They come to us for advice, what they think they should get, what's best in the market, what they should buy, what they should lease, and some of the consumers want what they want.
Yeah.
You know, we don't. Everybody's an adult. Everybody, you know, well, I won't drive this. I want that. It's. But unfortunately, there's risks. Listen, one of my good friends recently in New York City was driving home, pulling into his driveway. His gate opened, and they followed him right into his gate. And he was driving an X6M BMW, and their goal was to steal the car.
Did they succeed?
They did not,
Oh,
because
good.
unfortunately they did not, because I mean he went into this flight or fight panic mode. He started screaming so loud and everything, and I guess it woke up the neighbors, and everybody started running to help him, and they couldn't figure out how to start the car. Uh, I mean, we're laughing. They did.
Oh, yeah.
It was at gunpoint, and it affected him tremendously, because the next
Oh,
day,
sure. Yeah.
the next day, he traded the car in, and he's now panicking and worried about, well, what he's going to drive and this and that. And I spoke to him numerous times, and it took a toll mentally.
Oh, sure. I would. Yeah,
Man,
absolutely.
that's sad.
When you're getting a gun to your head to take your car out of nowhere, it's unfortunate, but that's also off topic. But it is
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Well, no. Yeah, that's part of, if you own a car, that's always a threat. And
Didn't
so
they
do
know
you,
that handguns were illegal in New York?
I mean, you can file for it. Yeah, it's
yeah,
you
No,
can.
I mean the criminals. The
Oh
criminals weren't aware
yeah,
that it was
yeah.
illegal to have
as
a
I
gun.
said, that's where this whole defund the police thing and everything. New York is New York, and it's such a saturated and beautiful city, but it needs its protection. And it's just mixed feelings
Yeah.
about this whole
Yeah.
situation.
So I assume you've had an opportunity, or maybe you haven't driven most of the vehicles that you lease, so you have a sense of
Yes,
what they have. What's that?
you
So
know.
do you?
What were we saying? I'm sorry.
So
Was
so so what I was going to ask is do among the EVs you've driven, do you have a particular one that's your favorite?
I've driven recently. I've driven the SF90 Ferrari, which is also a half hybrid, and I'll be honest with you. I speak to a lot of my friends and family and everybody in the business. I'm doing this almost 20 years, and I want something to excite me. I want to love it. It's just when you're around the product so much, the cars and the cars and the cars,
All right.
and anywhere I go, conversations about cars, whether it's at home or with my kids or on vacation, it's cars. And it's difficult to say, well, I mean, I love everything. I love the tech. I love the technology. I love it. I love where we're going. But do I have a favorite? Tough to say. I don't really have a personal favorite. Be honest with you.
So which ones do you least enjoy?
Least enjoyed. Um, the ones that break down,
Oh,
and
well, right.
customers are furious, and that makes me unhappy when I have a unhappy customer. But again, we just recently leased a Nissan, and it broke down. where the Nissan bought it back, or an Infiniti QX50 we recently did. They took the whole car apart. You just saw a shell. Also, it was a combustion engine. Unfortunately, in general, they don't build them the way they used to. Everything is
Okay.
on autopilot. But as I said, EV cars, the biggest issue that I'm having with them, that I'm also seeing in New York, and when it gets cold, the batteries die much quicker. So
Okay.
that's something that they still need to work on and fix. Um,
Is that particular brands of cars that you've seen that, that
yeah,
where your customer?
mostly all of them are having an issue when it's cold out.
Hmm.
That's across the board. The
Okay.
battery seems to be depleting faster when it's
Which they do.
which they
Yeah.
do. And but again, as I said, the BZ4X custom. But I also see a huge trend of going electric, then coming back to gas.
So in the leasing space,
Yes.
compared to what a car costs versus what a lease deal, is there anything out there that right now you just think is just ridiculously good deal for somebody watching? And it could be EV, it could be gas, I don't care.
Deal if, as I said, if it's EV, if we find any leftover Acura ZDXs, great deal.
What is
BC,
that one lease for when you have one?
to be depending on, also it depends on where the consumer is, because some of the incentives vary by zip code and state.
Got
But
it.
uh, ZD, the ZDX is around nothing down, regular inception fees around $300-400 a month, but
Wow.
that
Cheap.
depends on how many miles a year, a bunch of factors.
Right.
But you could get a great deal. BZ4X, great deal. As I said, Kia Niro is a great deal. Dodge Charger, a great deal. More or less all the brands are pushing to move them, because they're just collecting dust and they need them out, and it's good for branding. But gas wise, also everything is getting better and better. I mean, before we had the issue with chips and no cars, and things are more or less stabilizing, but you can get a good deal more or less on everything today across the board, from Nissan to Mercedes, BMW, depending on what you prefer. I see that the program and times are getting better.
Okay. You mentioned early on that the Dodge Charger,
Yes.
you were concerned about the battery depletion. What was that about?
So I'm just they have a lot of recalls, and
Okay.
I'm not particularly picking on it. I love the brand. I love their Hemis and everything, but I feel like she's not fully developed yet. They still need to work on her a little bit more, because
Right.
they have so many recalls. And in the state of New York, you can't deliver a vehicle unless all the recalls are done and everything is perfect. But it's just unfortunate that they visit service more than you're driving them.
Okay.
That's something that still needs to be worked on and invested in. As I said, everybody ran after the EV mandate and to follow the Teslas, but
All right. Now, I'm assuming these are all, of course, these are, as you mentioned earlier, are all new vehicles.
yes,
They are under warranty.
yes.
If there is a problem, a person in Charlotte, North Carolina, for example, they why would they want to come back to you when they just simply go down to the local dealer and have it looked at under warranty?
No, they could. If you get a car from me, and it depends where I send it to you. If I send it to you from New York, the warranty is the factory warranty. You could
Right. Exactly.
service the car anywhere in America. You don't have to
Right.
bring it to me. So
Right.
that's the beauty part. That's a big question that a lot of consumers ask us. Where will I be able to service the vehicle? And you could service it anywhere.
Right.
That's absolutely not an issue. But again, if you're a doctor, if you're busy in a particular practice or field, or you're a teacher, or anything, people ask us what's the most reliable thing they can get today, versus people are nervous, people don't want it. That's why a lot of doctors per se love BMW. They love the service, they love the brand, and they feel more confident that they won't break down on them when they need to be somewhere or an emergency.
Right. Right.
Bill, can you answer this question?
Which one?
The one that's on the screen.
Oh, I see. Compared to general mechanics, what's the ratio of qualified licensed electrical mechanics? Oh my God, I have no sense. You'd have to, those are all between the dealer and the manufacturer. Some dealers, for example, like I think some of, what was it, Ford here a year or two ago? Those dealers just didn't want to go electric because of the expense that it would take to not only buy the equipment and also then to train the mechanics. So to be honest, I don't have a sense of what that is. I would suspect that it's really more of a regional thing. I would imagine that there are plenty of EV mechanics that can handle this in California as opposed to here in Omaha. If I have a problem with my Bolt or my Fiat, can I take it over to Chrysler or can I take it over to Chevrolet, and will there be somebody there to fix it? I don't know the answer to that question. Because I haven't needed it, thankfully.
Well, we've all heard of cases with Tesla where they've taken a car and it's taken forever to get a problem fixed. I mean,
but it's not just them. I'm sorry for cutting you. I see it here all the time, and it's even in the body shop world.
Particularly.
God.
Even in the body shop world, because we too also have a body shop, and it's a nightmare with parts. It's a nightmare with parts. It's a nightmare with fenders, with bumpers, with anything. It's a nightmare getting it. And the insurance companies, due to the fact that there's so many fees of storage and all of the nonsense, and because some of the parts you might have to consider going aftermarket or not, and they don't want to insure you driving the vehicle with aftermarket parts, they would prefer to total the vehicle versus fixing it.
Yeah,
that's also.
I assume the owner or the leasee is the, or is it the leaseor? I don't remember the anymore. But the person leasing the car from you, I assume they're responsible for the insurance, or
of course,
can you help arrange that for them?
Well, again, we can recommend. We physically don't sell insurance. We can recommend. We can assist. Anything that we can assist with or help with or guide, gladly. If this can make it smoother and easier, no problem. As long as I said, our sales reps are always on the phone, via text, via email, via chat, numerous ways you can speak to us. And not only are we with you when you're buying the car, we're with you every step of the way till the end, which is convenient because sometimes life happens. You don't know what's going to happen when you're driving. When the car broke down.
Let me, so I can kind of understand the flow here. The car gets manufactured at, let's say, Kansas City, and then that gets delivered to a dealer, and then that gets listed in your database, and that you then can negotiate with the dealer to get the car transported to, let's say, somebody in Oklahoma, for example. So what's sort of the mechanics of, how the car moves from the assembly line to the new owner?
So the car moves from the assembly line to the dealership, or if it's not at the dealership, it's at the storages or the port or the rails. It depends which way they're going. But we have established relationships with brands here, the dealerships, and so on and so forth, and we help them move their inventory. And we pretty much we deal with fleet pricing, which we can give to the consumer. So we're here we're a benefit for the dealerships and we're a benefit for the consumer. Plus, if we have a customer that's in New Jersey and we work in New York, this customer would never walk into them. And at the same time, a lot of these dealerships are having issues. It's a win-win for everybody because a lot of the dealerships need to hit certain quotas for the manufacturers. And now that they put on the manufacturing is doubled up, tripled up, they have to do 400 cars a month versus during COVID 100 cars a month. And we help them at the same time move their units. And it's different with everybody because they have floor plan to pay, and it's just a lot of internal mechanics. But we are here we negotiate the lease, we provide everything, and we arrange the delivery of the vehicle from whichever point that it's coming from to the consumer.
Okay.
And now, as I said, you could take a look. You could Google us. You could see our reviews. We're dealer of the year. We're dealer rated. Thousands upon thousands of 5-star reviews.
Yeah, you got great ratings. Great ratings.
And we worked hard, and we fight for every customer, and we want to make sure that they're happy. And I too am a customer, and my family. And have you ever walked into a dealership to buy a vehicle?
Oh yeah, just a couple months ago.
So instead of
Unfortunate experience.
sitting down with the salesperson, and then he walks into the manager, and the
Right.
manager does a price, and then back and forth.
Yeah. Yep.
You get assigned one rep who is with you to streamline the process from the beginning to the end, to the point where you receive the keys. There's no bait and switching here. We don't, none of that. So if whatever you agreed on, you agreed with the rep, God willing, approved with, everything is perfect. Vehicle gets delivered, you take possession, we shake hands, and we get a beautiful 5-star review.
Good deal.
So to qualify for leasing, does it, so like with financing, if somebody's credit score is lower, they're paying higher interest rates. I assume it works the same way with leasing.
Yes. Yeah. So the banks offer different tiers. Same thing with leasing. Tier 1 through 3, tier 3 to 6. Same thing. And yeah, depending on your credit, and the different types of other factors, but it affects the selling price. Well, not the selling price, the payment is the correct terminology. So depending, but we do our best to, hope, God willing, help the customer, to best price, best payment, and everything, so that no matter what situation, we can help them with.
We lost the audio.
My audio.
No, you're good. You're good. It's Bill. Bill's having the issue. He probably had a rabbit chew through his internet cable. He had that happen once before. So, yeah, we've been doing this for a long time.
My
There's a lot of
audio
different
go?
technical issues that one can have. But so when these vehicles are being totaled out, are they ending up at Mannheim or Odessa, or where do they go to be auctioned off?
So that is something that I obviously don't handle, but depending on which insurance is totaling them out, so and who the insurance companies have. You hear me or no?
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, Bill can't hear us.
So what was I saying? Depending on how they get totaled, and who is totaling them, State Farm could have agreements with Copart and Mannheim, and that is already something that they internally decide, that has absolutely nothing to do. Now I hear you. Well, I hear the microphone.
Yeah, we hear him. You hear Bill. He doesn't hear us. But yeah, no, I know you don't have control over where it goes. Somebody was just asking.
No, I saw the question. Yeah, it's a good question. The cars are scattered between whatever auctions they have agreements with, and I see a bunch of them are mainly going to Copart.
One of my tennis friends has like 4 dealerships here, where he pretty much just sells totaled out cars that he's rebranded the titles, and that's all he sells, and he does real well with it. I mean, he has hundreds of cars all the time, and he'll have anything from something real basic. I've seen him have like a Lamborghini Urus, and I know he's had some Ferraris. He'll get some real high end ones. He'll have Teslas. Yeah, it's interesting kind of to see. I think Teslas get totaled out real easily, because even that top window, if it gets cracked, they'll total the car out just because that top window got cracked.
There's a huge export market for these vehicles that are totaled, and not totaled, that crashed and go to the auction. There's a huge market for everything. I know numerous people who buy vehicles that Again, a lot of these vehicles, the insurance assesses them that it doesn't make sense for them to fix. Where they can fix them, they can revive them. A lot of people don't care about what you know. It also depends on the state rules of how it does the title work and what they allow with the process of if it's salvaged or not. It's different in every state.
No, I get that. Um, Now, don't most leases allow you to buy
Yeah.
the lease out at the end?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so most of the brands are at the end. Your contract when you're leasing the vehicle already has the residual value, so that's your purchase price at the end of the lease. You can buy it out yourself, not an issue, directly with with the bank that it's leased through, or we can help you. We can assist you, or we can point you in the right direction to help you to
Okay.
finance the difference. But yes, you can purchase the vehicle at the end of the lease.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Tesla, they it's something new. They have this very specialized roof glass, and if it gets crushed by hail, which it has to be really, really serious
Yes.
hail to break one of those, um, then it would do it. My son had a Toyota Corolla that we had the entire rear window got smashed out by hail. I mean, it totally imploded it into the car. I
Yeah.
mean, that was a big hailstone to
Wow.
take out that window. It's one thing to get big, bumps on the car, but yeah, we get some serious hail here in Nebraska.
I've gotten vehicles back that suffered some serious hail damage. So I've seen it
Well,
here also.
I'm sure. Um, what? So I see you've got like some cars that are under even like a $300 a month lease, like
Yes.
Nissan Altima, Sentras. Um, oh yeah, Sentra's 279. What
Correct.
is that about as cheap as a lease gets, I get? The
Yeah.
Sentra is about the cheapest car there is. Well,
Sentra.
it's the Versa. The Versa is the cheapest one.
So Versa might be cheaper as a MSRP, but Versa does not have a good lease program.
Okay.
Versa is more or less a beginner vehicle when a parent wants to get their son that goes to or daughter to college, and it's
Hmm.
a beginner, $20,000 plus minus the MSRP. But the programs are on the Sentras, the Ultimas. They're amazing. Elantra, Hyundai, amazing as a starter car, great deal. There's a lot of, as I said, the trend had changed a lot post COVID, and it's getting back to normal. But as I said, we had a whole because of inflation and everything that was 300 became $800 a month. People had changed their mindsets a lot on what they want to lease. Even a Range Rover from $1,000 a month became three. So everything went through the
Wow.
roof. Yeah, everything went through the roof, and a lot of people said, you know what, screw it. An Ultima for $300 a month, and I'm done spending money. And I mean, we cater to everybody, but there's a lot of different scenarios. Well, as I said, 20 years in the business, and I see it from my point or my aspect. A lot of the brands they sell one car, meaning one brand, Ford or Toyota. I see them all, so which is convenient because I basically the programs change monthly, more or less. So I'm able to see what's good this month versus last month, where are we going, what's going to happen, and just it's been a crazy last few years.
Now, you mentioned that you sometimes deal in some used Teslas. How does that occur?
Again, if we have a customer that calls in and he is interested in a used vehicle, that's not an issue. We're a licensed dealer in the state of New York also, and we can assist if the car exists, even at an auction or somewhere where a regular consumer can buy it. We assist and we help with the process.
Okay, great,
So,
great.
more or less, if anything that has to do with wheels and a steering wheel, we're there for you.
Nice. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, Zori, it's been a pleasure having you on our show.
Same here, guys.
Didn't, it's probably more stuff we could talk about, and we certainly have had plenty of people asking questions today. Um, Stick with us just a minute. Folks, I want to thank you all for watching the show. Bill and I will be back next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.